If you could stop talking about it, it makes me sad.
Your colleagues are watching the game in the ticket booth, and you're here. Don't you think it's a little unfair that you have to work?
Well, what can I say? I tried to take the day off, but my colleagues were faster than me.
Oh no. That's not... I've tried it the nice and friendly way. Now it's time for a dastardly piece of cunning. Oh my god, a penalty for the French team! What a brutal foul on Zidane!
I must see that game. Could you take over my post for a minute while I go and watch the penalty?
Sure, pleasure.
Thank you so much, sir. Don't let anyone in. I'll be back in a minute.
Behind the thick glass pane, I can see an old piece of parchment. But what does it say? It's not an FHM, but you must always educate yourself with new things. This says that the parchment is one of the last documents written by Jacques de Molay. Shortly before he was burnt at the stake, he's said to have told one of his servant boys, Geoffrey de Charnay, the secret of a lost seal that was said to be more powerful than 1,000 gods. Wow, 1,000 gods, huh? Not just one, but 1,000. It says, Molay instructed Charnay to look for the seal, but before he could find it, he met the same fate as his master. Charnay was burnt alive by the French Inquisition. Although managed to hide the parchment from his enemies, the seal has remained lost to this day. The only trace that the parchment gives leads to is Portugal Tomar, a provincial small town northeast of Lisbon. The Templars' last European stronghold in the 14th century. When Tomar fell and the order was destroyed, the seal disappeared in the confusion of the war. But it is assumed that the seal is still hidden somewhere in the area. The sandy and rocky hills of Tomar are an attractive destination for archaeologists, tourists, and adventurous treasure seekers. That must be it. Tomar!
Pardon?
Nothing. It's alright. Stobart, you are fantastic. First, you got rid of the Watchmen, and now you even know your next destination. Portugal. Behind the thick glass, it's some kind of main subject, bone findings in Israel. Sounds interesting. That's not... I don't need any souvenirs. Maybe later. Hello.
Yes?
You wouldn't give me that box of chocolates for free if I asked nicely, would you?
Who do you think you are? Leave me alone if you're not buying anything.
Can I pay for those chocolates by credit card?
Do you have a MasterCard?
No, American Express.
Can't you read the sign? It says only MasterCard in cabin letters. And now you are driving away my customers with your loitering.
Mister, you could be a bit more polite. Are you by any chance interested in the well over there and the workings?
Not really. What's so interesting about a well?
Now come on, it might hide the greatest treasure of the Knights Templar.
Knights... what?
Templar! Templar! Knights Templar. Didn't you pay attention in history class? Didn't you pay attention in history class?
I never went to school.
How long have you had this shop?
Since that crazy professor over there started believing he can find some treasure down the well.
But that's possible, isn't it?
He won't find anything. 2 weeks ago, I told him I had lost my wristwatch and asked him to keep an eye open.
Did you get it back?
Yes and no. I found it near the well, but now it's gone again.
My God, you're not real good at taking care of your things, are you?
That's not easy if you have to watch the shop all the time because some brat wants to mess about with your goods. I even cut holes in my newspapers so I can see what's going on while those thieves think I'm reading.
Have you caught anyone yet?
Certainly. That brat over there tried to steal a box of chocolates. I caught him and spanked his ass like in the good old times.
Maybe I can find your watch.
If you want to look for it, fine. I've stopped looking for it a few days ago. I'll only lose it again.
Hey, you.
What? Me?
Yes, you. Do you have a minute? What are you doing in a place like this?
I live here, sir, in the street, in the nature.
You're not serious.
I earn a living from polishing shoes, begging, and stealing.
Seen from close range, the watch doesn't look as cheap anymore. There's an engraving. Ilak al-Kalb? That rings a bell somewhere. Although I'm filled with guilt, I snatch an item from the bag. It's a thread. That's the old man's bag. Hi, my name is George.
Ah! Oh, pardon me. You made me jump a little. Bom dia, my name is Professor Arruda.
What are you doing with the well?
This isn't a well. It's an antique cistern.
Cistern? What's that?
Holy mother. It's an underground container for rainwater.
And what is it that you're doing with this cistern?
I'm examining it.
I can see that, but why?
I'm an archaeologist, and I'm about to make a really important discovery.
What discovery is that?
Are you interested in history?
About a year ago, I would have asked myself the same question until this thing with the Templars happened.
Oh, you do seem interested in history. Do you have some time? I can tell you the whole story.
Sure.
Well, as you might have heard, Portugal was a paradise for the Templars. Besides France, it was the first European country in which the order established itself after its foundation in Jerusalem in 1119. In 1128, Queen Teresa presented Castle Sure to the order as a gift. It lay near the Crescent Front.
Crescent Front? You mean the front line with the Arabs?
Ah, the Moors, correct. In 1147, Teresa's son and heir Alfonso, a Templar, conquered the Arab stronghold Lisbona with the help of his fellow knights. Today, Lisbona is called Lisbon. Alfonso declared Portugal's independence and became its first king. In return for the Templars' help, he gave them a stretch of land in the heart of the country. At the time, the Order's Grand Master was a man named Gualdim Pace, sometimes known as Galdinus. Tomar became the Templars' military headquarters, so to speak.
What happened then?
In 1291, the last Christian bastions in the Holy Land fell, and the Europeans blamed the Templars. Trouble was at hand for the order. And then a French spy called Esquieu heard about the Templars' satanic practices from a disgraced ex-Templar, and reported this news to the French king.
Philip IV.
Ah, you know of him?
A little, but go on.
Well, at the time, the accusations revolved around a mysterious graven image called...
Baphomet.
Are you sure you don't want to tell the rest yourself?
You can skip the bit about the Baphomet part. I'm kind of familiar with that.
Ah, are you also aware that the original idol is believed to be here in Tomar?
That's a new one on me.
I got the information from the transcripts made by the Inquisition. The idol itself was never found, but there is still an image of Baphomet within the castle. It is engraved on one of the bricks in the kitchen wall. If it were to be removed, it is said the ceiling and with it the whole building would collapse.
My mission here might be a little harder than I first expected. Back to the Templars.
Well, on Friday the 13th of October 1307, Philip IV had all known Templars in France arrested. Even in Spain, where the Templars had eliminated the Arab threat, people turned against the order because they no longer needed the Knights' protection. In 1308, the Spanish Templars escaped across the Tajo to Portugal and occupied the stronghold Almurol. All their treasures they took with them, and it is assumed that they were later brought here to Tomar.
But what made the Templars think they were safe in Portugal?
The Portuguese king Dinis hadn't forgotten what the Templars had done for his country and was still grateful. He granted them sanctuary. In fact, it was Dinis who re-established the order under another name with the elder João Lorenzo. They lived here as the Order of Christ and even kept their trademark, the Red Cross.
But what about the cistern?
A cistern? Ah yes, the cistern. I will come to that. This cistern is far too refined to have served as a mere water butt. I believe the Templars hid something extremely important here.
Wait, did he say extremely important? Maybe he's talking about the seal I'm looking for. Tell me more. Do you have any idea what it could be that they hid here?
Who knows? Maybe the Templar seal that was lost when the order was destroyed. Maybe the fifth gospel, which Christ is said to have written himself, and was believed to have been in the Templars' possession, as with the Holy Grail.
The seal! The return of the Templars!
Right. The time of reincarnation, the hour of revenge, the dawn of a new empire.
And a single seal is supposed to do that? How could the Templars have done that, Professor?
The question should be, how can they do that?
Can do...
Yes, George, can do. After the Templars' extermination, the seal vanished. Philip the Fair had hundreds of soldiers search for it. It was the iconic symbol of the order. He knew what power the seal possessed, and according to the legend, still does.
What power?
You weren't listening, George. The power of return.
Are you telling me this seal has magical powers?
Don't be stupid, George. The seal itself does not. But I assume it can trigger some kind of mechanism which could prove Einstein's theory of space warp.
I don't understand. What's Einstein got to do with this?
By means of space warp, it is possible to travel into the past.
And why hasn't anyone made a trip to the past yet?
How do you know no one has?
Are you telling me...
No, I only wanted to show that you can never be sure, George. Remember that.
Do you believe that people have traveled to the past?
Not yet, as there are no machines that